Hello, everybody. I see our participant numbers are rising, so we'll give that a little bit of time. Thank you for being here. Our first summer transition series of the summer. Hello, hello. We're just waiting for folks to keep logging on. Thank you for being here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Duke, and welcome to your first summer transition series of the summer 2024. We're really excited that you're here. We have an awesome campus partner with us today, Housing. We're excited to get your questions answered, hopefully, and to begin welcoming you to our great institution. So this will be recorded, so if there's questions that you have or information, you'll be able to access this again. So don't worry about that. Just take it in and enjoy our first time together. So this is our first summer transition series, Living at Duke Part 1. Thanks for joining us. So a little bit about our Zoom today. We have the Q&A feature is on. So if you have questions, please go ahead and post them in there. We have some amazing folks behind the scenes that will help to answer some of your questions. And then some of them will be answered live at the end of the session as well. Our chat is disabled, so don't put your questions in there, put them in the Q&A. And then, as I said, this is being recorded for later use. And then our upcoming webinars, our Living at Duke Part 2 is coming up, and those are more helpful resources for you, like your Duke card, some dining pieces, things like that. We have a Pratt Advising webinar coming up, as well as financial aid. The full list is in the Blue Book and on our website, so go ahead and check those out. It's been an exciting week with a lot of resources coming your way in your Duke email. So if you have any questions, feel free to let us know, email us. We're here to help you navigate your transition. So we have our friends in Housing and Residence Life here today. I'm going to turn it over to them, and then we'll come back together at the end to answer any questions we have. So take it away, Krista. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Karina. I really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. My name is Krista Jones, and I am the Associate Director for Housing Assignments. And I am the person responsible for where you will be living next academic year, or this coming academic year. The first year housing process is my favorite process that I manage, and I'm really, really excited to have the class of 28 on campus with us very soon. So today, just to give you a brief overview, I'm going to talk a little bit about how housing at Duke works, talk about the specific, and then talk about how we process assignments and what to expect from us over the rest of this summer before we get to move in August. So first, let's talk about where you live. Duke University has two main residential campuses. That's East Campus and West Campus. Our first year students all live together on our first year campus on East. And that is, East Campus is comprised of neighborhoods. So we have groups of buildings, 13 residence halls in all on East Campus, and they're kind of put together in groups within neighborhoods. And then on our West Campus, where our sophomores, juniors, and seniors reside, that is where we have quads. Sorry, West Campus quads. Sorry, I thought I had closed my presentation. I apologize. So that is where we have our West Campus quad. So your East Campus housing assignment, whatever building you're assigned to, will connect you directly to a quad on West Campus. And that is where you will reside your sophomore year on campus, and then where you have the option of residing for your junior and senior year on campus. Here you can see exactly what those east to west connections look like. These are also on our website, and they'll start becoming very, very familiar to you as you live and breathe Duke campus with us. So let's talk about the housing application in a bit more detail. First and foremost, the application opened on May 1st, and it is available on our housing portal. So anyone with a NetID login can go right to the housing portal and submit that housing application. We already have begun emailing you directly at your Duke email address with this link inviting you to submit the housing application as soon as you are able. The housing application does close on May 31st, so you want to make sure that you get that application submitted prior to 11:59 p.m. on May 31st. Then everyone who has submitted their housing application during that window will receive their assignment on June 12th. And that will include the name of your roommate if you're assigned to a double occupancy room. So June 12th is a big day. You will learn the building, the room, who your roommate is, and then also know what your quad connection is for the rest of your time here at Duke. We only communicate official communication through your Duke email. So I can't emphasize enough how crucial it is to really start checking your Duke email account if you haven't already. And that will be important also when you email us with questions, because sometimes there's protected information that we can only share with you via your Duke email account and not via your personal email address. So what does the actual assignment process look like? So first, what makes the assignment process at Duke really unique is that your neighborhood and room assignment are completely random. So the building that you're assigned to, the room that you're assigned to are completely random and managed by our housing software system. Roommates are also randomly assigned. Now, it's not completely random in the sense that we do our best to match students together with their lifestyle preferences. So if you've already looked at the application or the Blue Book or even our website, you'll already have seen examples of what the housing application looks like, or if you've accessed the application submitted, you've seen exactly what it is. And we have lifestyle preferences where we ask you specifically, what are your lifestyle habits? How much noise do you like to have in the room? How clean do you like to keep your space? And we try and match students up together with the best possible matches that we absolutely can. But otherwise, roommates are random. So we do not accept preferred roommate requests. You certainly, for your sophomore, junior, and senior year, will be able to do that. But for your first year, the really exciting part is that we take all of the decision making for you off of your plates and make the decisions regarding who you'll be living with and where you'll be living. On the housing application, you can indicate if you prefer a single room. And then you can also indicate gender preferences of your roommate. So if you want a roommate of a similar gender, you can certainly indicate that on the housing application. And if you don't want a roommate of a similar gender, you can also provide that, and we'll make the roommate matches accordingly. I do want to talk briefly about the focus program. So if you are applications for focus programs have already closed, but if you are accepted into a focus program, then you are assigned to a building with other members of your focus program. So that does take a little bit of the randomness of your assignment out, in the sense, let's say your focus program is assigned to Blackwell, then all of your members, including yourself, will go to Blackwell. However, your roommate will still be random. It will not be a member of your focus program, so that you can still forge those connections with other students of your peer class. And then you also do not need to indicate your focus membership on the application. So we get all of that information directly from the focus program, which is why we don't ask for it on the housing application, because we already get that information elsewhere. So it's not necessary for us. A bit more information regarding two processes that happen in conjunction with the application process. So first, I want to excuse me, briefly discuss the Student Disability and Access Office. Their website is here. So students who may need specific housing accommodations to meet medical needs that you may have, you'll want to start working with Student Disability and Access Office today if you haven't already. This process is completely separate from the housing application and from the housing office. So you can go right now online to their website, scroll down to the bottom and indicate that you want to start a request. And you can start that process online. You can upload your medical documentation to support your request online. And then if you are offered a housing accommodation through their office, they communicate with us directly and let us know what accommodation you have. And then we will work to make sure that your assignment meets that accommodation as long as we receive it in time. So again, if you've not started that process, but it sounds like something you may need while living on campus with us, please start reaching out to them now so we can make sure that your assignment, when you receive it on June 12th, meets all of your needs. We also have another process that is part of the housing application, and it is our faith-based housing exceptions process. So students who have faith-based practices that might be better supported with a specific housing style or location can request a faith-based housing exception. So there will be a question on the application, and it will ask you if you have faith-based practices that may be better supported by a specific housing style, and you can say yes or no. If you say yes, it will take you to further questions. If you say no, then you'll continue on through the application as normal. So some important upcoming dates. May 31st is when the housing application closes. So you have about 16 days left to get that application in if you've not applied already. Once you do submit the housing application, you can go back to the application and edit it as many times as you want between now and May 31st. Just make sure the responses look just as you want them before we get to the May 31st deadline, because your most recent response is what we will use when we process your application for assignments. Then June 12th, you'll be wanting to check your Duke email account. That's when you'll receive your housing assignment. So again, you'll know the building that you've been assigned to, the room, who your roommate is, and what your quad connection is for your remaining time here at Duke. Then the week of July 22nd, we will start sending move-in details to you. And move-in is on August 17th. So the week of July 22nd, that move-in email will include the specific time on August 17th that your building is set to move in. And it's really critical that students are a part of that process. The Duke move-in experience is one of my favorite experiences at Duke, where staff and faculty all come together to help support students as they move into their spaces. And if you don't meet that timeline, if you don't arrive and move in at the time that is designated for your building, then you really miss out on that special experience and meeting staff and faculty who are welcoming you here to campus. So that date is really critical and important to keep in mind. And that really is when your orientation process will then kick off. All right, so we are going to go over a few quick resources. If you haven't already, really encourage you to go take a look at our website. The link is here on the screen, and we'll get it posted here in chat in just a minute. But our website provides you details regarding each of our buildings on East Campus. You can find details regarding all of our buildings on all of our campuses. However, specific to you, you can learn a lot about what kind of amenities are within each building. Is it hardwood? Is it carpeting? Is it tile? What kind of heating and cooling system are within those buildings? Do the buildings have elevators available to you? Not all of our buildings do. And take a look at how many people might even be assigned within your building. The great thing about East Campus is majority of our buildings house around 100 students, so it really allows you and the other folks within your building to forge really strong connections and relationships right away. You'll also be able to see different things like bed sizes on our website. The dates that I showed you earlier will also be on our website. You can access the housing portal from our website. And that is the link that you see there, the second box, the housing portal. All of our forms, applications, etc., will always be on the housing portal. So if you are worried that you didn't get an email inviting you to participate in some process, for example, that's okay. You can go to our website or go directly to the housing portal if you have it saved and bookmarked and access that application all on your own regardless. So same thing with the housing application for the class of 28. You can go right now to this housing portal and submit that housing application. And then the last piece here that's really critical, as I've shared already, is to make sure that you are checking your Duke email account. There's quite a few of you who've reached out to us already via email, and a lot of our communication has already been going to you via your Duke email account. And that's where you need to be checking for a lot of our communications regarding upcoming timelines, deadlines, etc. All right, so that was a very quick overview of our housing process, what assignments look like, what our application process looks like. So now I'm opening up to any questions that folks might have. I know some have already been going in on the Q&A, and that's great. And if you have others, feel free to put them in now, and I'll answer some of them live for you as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Krista.
Mhm.
I think one of the first questions is around like international students, and maybe could you talk about any opportunity of what that move-in could look like?
Yeah, excellent. So we do have a special orientation process for international students that you register for ahead of time. And I don't have the specific date off the top of my head. I believe it's 2 days prior to the 17th, which would be the 15th. 14th, 15th is when you would move in. So if you do register for the international orientation, then the DISC office communicates directly with us with who those folks are, and we get you all set up so that you're ready to arrive early so you can participate in that orientation, because we certainly know moving to another country can be scary for folks. So we want to make sure you get settled and ready as best as we can.
Yeah, and a lot more information will be sent later this summer. So no one's missed anything yet. A lot of
That's right.
information is still coming, we promise.
Absolutely.
And then this is just a little plug for our office too of um, orientation starts the very next day, August 18th. And so if you're approved for an early move-in, it's for a particular reason, but if you're approved for that, we have a question of if a parent should stick around for actual move-in day. There's a family farewell event and a big picnic that evening. So more information coming about that, but the answer is yes. Like there are pieces on move-in day that are open to anyone, no matter when you move in. So again, we don't want to bombard you with too much information. We promise that it's coming at a timely manner that makes sense, but you haven't missed anything yet. The big takeaways from this is to complete your housing application. And then the focus application is still open until the 25th of
Oh,
May.
I
Um,
apologize. Thank you
all
for
good. Yeah.
correcting
So
me.
just if folks are still interested in that, visit the Focus website. You can still apply for the next 10 days. Can you talk, Krista, a little bit about the room variance, like if the difference between a suite style on East Campus or a double? What can students expect?
Absolutely. Thank you. So majority, in fact, all of our buildings except one offer your kind of traditional double room, single room corridor experience. So every building offers single room options and double room options, and they are all offer communal bathrooms. Sometimes there's only one bathroom per floor, or there might be two bathrooms per floor. In Wilson House, that building is unique and offers suite style housing. That's the only building on East Campus that does so. And the suite style options actually even vary from suite to suite in terms of what it looks like, but majority of them are 4 to 5 bedroom suites. They also vary in occupancy. So some of those suites have double rooms, some of them have single rooms, but then you share that one specific bathroom that you are connected to within that suite with your suite mates. So it's not communal in the sense that other folks on your floor do not have access to that bathroom, but it is still a shared bathroom experience, and that you would be sharing it with your other suite mates, which could be up to 6 to 8 people at a time. Another question we get a lot that I'll talk about briefly is whether or not we have single gender housing. And the short answer is we don't. Duke has an all gender housing philosophy that we have incorporated on our East and West campus for all of our students. And so what that means is there's not a floor on within any of our buildings where it's only one gender that would be assigned to that floor. We do have a question on the housing application where we ask if you have a preference for similar gendered neighbors. And if you answer yes to that question, then we would assign basically like a block of rooms on a floor for students who share that similar gender. But outside of that, we do not offer any single gender opportunities.
Krista, are you able to talk a little bit about that West Campus connection and kind of what students can expect when they move over to West?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year you'll apply for housing, and students are required to live on campus for 3 years. So your freshman year, your first year, your sophomore year, and your junior year, you are required to live on campus with us. So when you transition from East Campus to West Campus on your sophomore year, you will apply for housing, but the beauty is that you know exactly what quad you'll be living in. So you really just have to worry about whether or not you have a preferred roommate that you want to go into the application process with. And before you even start your sophomore year, the quad that you're connected to, their quad council is already going to be reaching out to you on East Campus and inviting you over for different events and programs. They also offer tour opportunities leading up to the housing application when that opens in the spring, preparing for the upcoming fall. So you'll start really bridging those relationships and connections the moment you arrive on East Campus with us, and then throughout your year, preparing you to become a sophomore on West Campus.
And then we have a question around wondering about like some of the amenities in the space. So like if they're curious about if there's carpet in the room, like what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, excellent. So I definitely recommend going to our website and looking at each of our buildings. It tells you right there in the brief description whether or not it's hardwood or carpeted. Majority of our buildings are hardwood, some of the original flooring from when the buildings were constructed, which is really nice and fun, adds that historical aspect. But even our buildings that indicate they are carpeted, we do have rooms within those buildings that are without carpet for students who might have housing accommodations due to allergies and things like that. So even if you are allocated to a building with carpet, if you have a need for an accommodation from Student Disability and Access Office, we would get you certainly assigned to a space within that building that meets your need. But we do have buildings on East and West that offer all different flooring types.
Wonderful. Those are all the questions that we have. So maybe what's the big recap? What do we need to walk away with this meeting with, Krista?
Yeah, excellent. Thanks. So the most important thing is to make sure that you get your housing application in by May 31st. That really is critical because if you miss that deadline, then you won't receive your assignment on June 12th when the rest of your peers will. And we really want you to have that information so that you can celebrate and be excited with everyone else in the class of 28. So make sure you get your application in by May 31st. If you do miss that window for some reason, we will reopen the housing application later in June. We'll email you directly saying, hey, we still need your housing application. And so you'll still be able to submit it. It's just your assignment will come out later in June, early July. So that is a big takeaway. Make sure you get the housing application in by May 31st.
And in order to do that, be sure you're checking your Duke email, please. You should have received information on how to set that up with the email, your personal email that you've applied to Duke with. If you need help with that, please reach out to our office, student orientation at duke.edu, or reach out to student affairs OIT. We will help and make sure that you guys are all set up and ready to go. Any other housing questions? The address is on here, housing at duke.edu, and the phone number Krista, thank you so much. Nicole, Emily, Grace behind the scene, thank you all so much for helping us run this webinar. And everyone have a great day. We'll talk soon. Go Duke!
Thanks, everyone. Bye.